Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyom Abda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Welcome everyone into our our Q&A slash the big picture satsang. So do we have a question to begin with, or we don't? Okay, if nobody has a question to begin with, let's begin with a question that was presented to me by someone, a couple. I had a satsang with someone. It was the day before yesterday, but in the end, we ran out of time and I couldn't complete my answer. And I sort of addressing that in a way that I can send the link to them, and maybe we could all benefit from this conversation. So they are friends from this area where I live. They come from New Advaita, but they have been to India. They have been for quite some time with a Vedanta teacher as well. So they understand by now Vedanta. And the question is, okay, Vedanta is wonderful, but it is also very nice to do yoga. Yoga means to say upasana and experience peace of mind, meditation, samadhi, and all those more mystical aspects available through yoga. So the question was around like, so, but can't we do both? Can't we just, okay, we keep working on the analysis of experience and in the logic presented by the Upanishads, but at the same time, we keep doing yoga so that we can, at the same time, enjoy those beautiful experience which comes with a resolved mind, a sattvic mind, by yoga. You know, yoga controlling the sense organs, controlling our mind, controlling our sense perceptions. We can somehow develop certain states, and with those states we can enjoy a certain ananda that is very pleasant. You know, we enjoy. There is nothing better than having a resolved mind, peaceful, sattvic mind, you know. And so why not? If you want to do yoga, do samadhi yoga, do upasana yoga, do everything that we relies on willpower, so that you can induce a certain silent mind state, mental state. So we do all of that. And the question was, so these friends, they were saying like, yes, we love Vedanta, but we also, at least that's what I was getting from them, you know, but we want to keep the other side of the cake as well. So I want to have in both worlds. I want to have a sattvic mind by the means of yoga, and a sattvic mind by the means of jnana yoga. And I went through quite, not much extensively, because it was less than an hour, But in the end, there was a piece that I want to add to that conversation that was not possible, which is that there are two ways, and you all know that. We all appreciate a peace, calm, resolved mind, stable and so on. But we know that by the means of yoga alone, we have that, but that is subject to change very soon after we have suspended our effort to keep the mind in that state. When we suspend our sadhana, our effort to stay in that state, the willpower, the discipline, the jiva, by willpower and discipline, the jiva can produce a certain state. But that state is subject to modification, as we know, once we stop the effort, the doing, or the regulating, and so on. So, what is the difference between having a mind resolved by yoga, which is going to produce peace of mind and a lot of pleasant experience, of peace and clarity and expansion of energy and love and bliss, all those experiences, they are byproduct of a resolved mind. Yeah? So we want that, but as we know, if we don't address the real fundamental root cause of the disturbed mind, the disturbed mind that was made peaceful mind by the means of yoga is going to turn disturbed again once we suspend the effort to control the mind. And why? Because vasanas, they are only suspended when we create a certain state. Why they are only suppressed or suspended? Because they are not addressed in the effort to keep the mind quiet. They are not addressed. No? So the ignorance, those vasanas that compels us to be all excited about what's happening in the world, trying to control the field of experience, that mind, those ignorance, they remain intact when we go into silence. When we come out of silence, they surface again naturally. Why? Because we got peace of mind, but we did not address the fundamental problem, which is rajas and tamas, ignorance. Ignorance that's going to make the mind, dull and all agitate, try to do something to control one's experience. So the difference is something that I often put in terms of mind resolved by jnana versus a mind resolved by willpower, yoga. So if you resolve the mind by willpower, you have no control over the mind once the mind becomes unresolved due to the suspension of effort. As whereas the mind resolved by jnana is a mind that is resolved in its base because we have addressed by following the logic presented by Vedanta, we have addressed the fundamental cause that brings about a disturbed mind, which is ignorance of the true nature of the I, the true nature of Mithya, and our true nature is Satya. So if we don't really work on the fundamental problem, we may get some breaks from the effects of that problem, which is mental perturbation, disturbance. But then that condition returns because it's only going to go if you go and you cut the roots of those disturbances. The roots is ignorance. So the mind that is resolved by the means of jnana, of Vedanta, of jnana yoga, of understanding, is a mind that understood the very source of mental disturbance and wants to address the problem there where it is, so that the mind may become naturally more calm, sattvic, and so on, without us having to control the mind. So just imagine how nice it is to have an overall peaceful, sattvic mind without having to do sadhana, just spontaneously having a certain state that is often referred as sahaja samadhi, a natural state of satisfaction and peace and appreciation for life, which is derived from knowledge or neutralization of those pieces of ignorance that disturbs the mind, as opposed to a mind resolved only when I'm sitting and keeping my effort to control thoughts, control my tendencies, and so on. So that is the fundamental difference, and that's why Vedanta suggests that we go, if we want a solution, we better go to a final, definitive solution rather than a temporary solution. A temporary solution is going to bring temporary resolution, is going to bring temporary peace of mind, satisfaction, and so on. And it comes to a point that one is tired of getting temporary solutions, temporary happiness and satisfaction and peace. So one wants to have a more permanent and continuous peace. And that is only possible by working on the root cause of the disturbed mind. I don't believe you guys here, we have any doubt about what I said. It's nothing new, but anyhow, it may help us to further understand the value of jnana, of knowledge, because it's the only remedy against ignorance. And suffering is a byproduct of self-ignorance. And the only remedy against suffering, therefore, is self-knowledge. It's the knowledge that neutralizes the self-ignorance, which causes the mind to be extroverted or totally depressed, producing what we call samsara, this psychological, uncomfortable psychological condition, right? Okay, I guess that covers what I want to tell my friends. I will send this link for them to take a look, and we could further discuss this or any other thing if you guys have any other thing to say or something new to say.
Arlindo, excuse my voice. Maybe I shouldn't talk too rough. Sorry.
No, I mean, I can hear you. If you're afraid to talk so that you may aggravate your condition, is something else. Otherwise, I can hear you very well.
Okay. I was thinking in terms of the years I spent doing 5 or 6 hours of meditation and, per day, and finally got to that point, as you said, where, hey, that's enough. I just am not getting anywhere. And I think one of the reasons it's not primary anymore in my life is that it seems to be goal-oriented. And the whole sadhana thing seems to be very goal-oriented. And I don't want to live my life seeking for a goal, so I want to, because moksha is already accomplished, and I just have to figure that out in a sense. But karma yoga, on the other hand, is a beautiful integration of everything for a householder, really. Just gets the upasana. I mean, karma yoga and upasana, they're just like two sides of one coin to me now. And and you can more easily, I think, get to nididhyasana for that establishment in the self language, but the Upasana, that strict meditation regimen, the discipline and everything, it's so much easier with karma yoga to me. It just gets rid of that whole goal thinking.
Well, very nicely said. Very nice. So, as I often say, the Kama Yoga is very natural, and especially for us householder, I often say that it's the most natural purifier of the mind. It's natural because you don't need to walk away from our lives, our duties, our roles in society. We keep things as they are. And then we study, we contemplate on these scriptures on karma dharma. Huh? And then in due time, we develop a certain attitude of, of gratitude and devotion, huh? And reverence to life, to Ishvara. And that is going, is going to take care of this development of qualifications or preparedness, because naturally the ego is going to come down, and the anxiety in regards to what's coming is going to diminish and so on. And then when you see you are no longer a goal-oriented person, all excited about reaching your goal, you understood that if there is a goal, what could be said about this goal is profound peace of mind, or that's conducive to a hard and fast self-knowledge. You understand? A profound condition, mental condition, such a clear, contemplative, peaceful, that is necessary for this hard and fast self-knowledge, as you said, you know. So if any goal is that, we often say the goal of a seeker of moksha is the cultivation and development of a sattvic mind. So this is the goal. It's no longer a goal of accomplishing, becoming something that's going to resolve my problem, but there is a goal, and the goal is an intermediary goal, you know, is to have a certain mental atmosphere that is going to allow me to assimilate this knowledge in a way that it becomes a doubtless self-knowledge, a hard and fast self-knowledge. So it's not that we live a life without a goal. We have the highest goal now, you understand? But it's not those goals, those mundane goals that most samsaris believe they are going to resolve their problems. And it's not even that kind of a spiritual goal that makes people in the spiritual world believe, now, if I develop a certain mental condition or mental powers or whatever, you know, and then I have got to my destination. No. So those are samsari goals. Some samsari, material samsari, and the other is spiritual samsari. So I want to achieve, do something to gain a certain state. This is again samsara. So our goal here is an intermediary goal, is to develop a certain mental, emotional, intellectual atmosphere in which this full assimilation is easily attained, gained. You understand? Not that I'm going to gain anything. I'm going to gain an understanding that I have already, but it's still subject to doubt. You understand? So we are not going to gain anything new. And if there is a goal, is to develop a mental, intellectual condition that is going to be conducive to the removal of all my doubts in respect to what I already know, but I'm still, you know, here and there, subject to doubting it. Huh? So it's very nicely said, Lynn. I don't know if if you also agree with what I said.
What I like about what Lynn said too, as far as the goal-oriented, what I find sometimes, certain days when I have a lot of agitation, a lot of rajas, and I'm trying to control my mind, I almost get more frustrated that I can't do it, and that kind of compels the rajas, rather than just letting go, I guess, is kind of the opposite, trying to control the mind, in a that type of manner.
Yeah, when we have a day like that, a moment like that, I mean, one has to think like, okay, so I have to stop everything and go to my meditation room and begin meditating. That's how I used to see it, I have to go back and calm down, breathe, and start doing my sadhana, because it's very uncomfortable to be in that condition. And the other way is like, okay, so there is still some ignorance operating here. It means I need to do more shravana, and I need to do more shravana in respect to karma, dharma yoga and yana yoga, as far as the Ishvara knowledge present, partially presented, or present in one aspect of Bhagavad Gita, which is this ethic, moral, psychological laws, governing our human experience. So we in any way, we need to do something to get out of those conditions, Karen, because when we are totally disturbed, we are not only frustrated because we say, oh my God, I'm not enlightened yet. Not only we are frustrated, but in that mental condition, our response to what's happening to us in that moment is even more poor, is even more compromised, because the mind is like that. And then it is definitely recommended when we are in that state that we pause, that we seen our possibilities, and we either go back to our knowledge, scriptures, or we go back to our effort to calm down the mind. You understand? So, because acting from that platform of mental disturbance is a recipe for more conflicting feelings and karmas, to deal with. So it is part of our journey, and does not help to feel frustrated, because it is like adding up a secondary layer of a problem to the primary problem. The primary problem is, oh, I'm here all agitated and so on. And not only I'm agitated, but I'm identified. And I say, I am the agitated mind. Because if you get agitated and there is no identification, you are free, you are good. But if you are agitated and you believe you are the agitated mental condition, and then you are really in trouble. And then you have already this problem, which is experiencing mental disturbance and identify with that condition. It's a big problem. And even worse, a secondary layer of a problem there is to say to yourself, it shouldn't be that way. When you say it shouldn't be that way, and then we add a secondary layer of complexity to ignorance, because it means we did not understand that all these effects, they are part of this overall picture, equation of life, in which Ishvara and only Ishvara knows all the elements and why we experience what we experience. Then with the Karma Yoga knowledge, we can say, okay, here it is, I'm experiencing this and this and that, You understand? And I don't make a big deal about that because that is my prarabdha karma. It means to say there is still ignorance popping up from the basement of my mind, my causal body. Okay, so, oh, good to know. There is some ignorance here producing a certain disturbance and discomfort. And don't make it wrong. Don't make it shouldn't be this way because that makes things much more complex. You understand, Karen?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. The secondary layer. Yeah. You're adding on to it instead of letting it go. Yeah.
Understand that we are doing our best. Huh? If we stop beating ourselves up, we say, I'm doing my best. We see my possibilities, and if there is still ignorance operating here that's making me suffer, so it's my karma, it's my condition, you understand? And so I just keep doing my work, and I trust that gradually I will purify and I will experience less and less mental disturbance. And even if I experience mental disturbance, I will not make it a big deal because I will not fully identify with it. Because number one, I will say, okay, this is all Ishwara, moving along with my vasanas, my ignorance. It's bringing to the surface. Thank you, Lord. I can see better now, ignorance in operation. This is one level. And then on the other level is like, I'm none of these as well. I'm none of these. I'm the light that reveals Ishwara processing my vasanas so that I can learn and grow and understand.
Arlindo, do you think it would be helpful for us to sort of design a mantra for ourselves that we could use in that situation? Do you have any suggestions or?
Well, you can custom design your own reminder. A mantra is a reminder, something that's going to remind us of something that helps us to grow. So it can be the ultimate mantra, like I am limitless consciousness, Aham Brahmasmi. It can be that, but if that is too subtle, you know, and then you can design more tangible ones, like So, thank you, Lord. You are bringing to my attention things that I need to learn. There are some things here that still disturbing me and make me act in a way that's not conducive to my growth and self-knowledge. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord is a nice, more tangible mantra, because at least we are not beating ourselves up, and at least, and also we are not being irresponsible. We know that Lord gives back to us the results of our efforts. You understand? Whatsoever our efforts, our actions have been so far, is producing our prarabdha karma. So I remind myself that I understand the system, and when my vasanas, no, they manifest as my prarabdha karma, I understand that I'm co-creator in my actual circumstance or condition. Yes, so yes, this is the byproduct of everything I have been thinking and doing, applies all the vasanas that I came with in the very beginning of this incarnation and many other factors that I have no control, but everything is bringing about the results. Okay, but it does not makes me totally off the hook in the sense that I know that I am one of the factors in my efforts. They are fundamental, they count, and oh God, how do they count? It's only through our personal effort that we can purify and grow. So you can design these reminders either on the satya level or mitya level, bringing Ishvara into the equation of our situation. I say, oh yes, Lord, thank you for showing me this. Everything is you. Everything is you. You are the true teacher. Oh Lord, you are the true teacher. Thank you for shining things that I need to learn and overcome. So on that level, mantras on this level, or mantras on the most ultimate level. So if I remember, if I have time, I can write some ideas. I send to you, our next email.
Thanks. That would be great.
All right. Anything else?
I find your explanation very clear. So thank you, because it was something that we know. We talk a lot about that, but understanding so deeply that you have to address the vasana. This is the most important thing. It clarifies a lot, and I think it's important to understand clearly why it's better knowledge than practice. So thank you. It was very precise.
Yeah, thank you, Claudio. Yeah, it is important, and the reason I want to share with you guys this conversation is because it helps us to develop a clear value for the only remedy that's going to resolve the problem of samsara. If we have several possible remedies, suppose you have an illness, and then you go and, there are 5, 6 different schools or doctors. You have Ayurvedic and Chinese and this and that. And then I can play a little bit with one and another. But maybe not all of those remedies are going to resolve that condition, for example, as an example. But once you are clear that only one remedy is going to save you, cure you, and then you no longer have to go through the trouble of experimenting different remedies, and many of those remedies may prove to be absolutely inefficacious, and so now I understand. Oh yes, I'm developing an understanding here that knowledge is the key here. You understand? Knowledge is the key. But my vision, my understanding is not very clear. I'm still saying, okay, yes, but there are many, many paths, and all of these roads takes us to Rome. No, there are not all roads takes us to Rome. All roads may take us to the gates of Rome. And then in order to enter Rome, we need to take the one single road, because as Ramana Maharaj said, by knowledge and understanding alone, the self can be realized. And it's not going to be produced, but it's going to be realized as ever, always present, as the only reality, consciousness. So it's important that we understand that knowledge is not only the best remedy, but the truth is, I can't say that because people may think that I'm a fanatic. So knowledge is not only the best remedy, but ultimately is the only remedy. You understand? because anything else is going to attenuate or improve our experience as human beings, experiencing the world. But only knowledge can do a much deeper work, you know, in a way that we can naturally turn to become an enjoyer of this human experience rather than a sufferer of this human experience. When I began my journey away from samsara, I was with Osho Rajneesh. And Osho Rajneesh was an entry-level guru, as I often say. And I'm grateful I met him on my early days. And he used to say, you come to me with all kinds of problems, and I have only one remedy, and the only remedy. And then he would say, and the remedy is meditation. Here it is. I have 108 meditations. You can play with them and choose your favorite one. This is going to cure you of all your problems. And he never really taught us anything beyond that. You understand? And I thought that that was the ultimate remedy. No, that was a good remedy. Like we take a remedy to calm down the fever, you know, without addressing the real problem, you know, what's happening in the body. We take, oh, no, the fever is too high, take something to bring down the fever. So we are not treating the problem, we are treating a symptom of the problem. So meditation is going to treat one symptom of the problem. And what is the problem, Karen? The ignorance, of course.
Ignorance, yes.
Yeah, ignorance. And ignorance can be treated with one single, only remedy, which is understanding, knowledge. Understand of what? Understand that I don't need to be all over the place running like crazy in the rat race, try to find completion and satisfaction and peace in a world that is becoming more crazy than ever, at least since I was born. So it's the only remedy. Now you are red, whole, full, and complete. Come with me, and I'm going to show you. You don't need to gain or achieve or be a multimillionaire. Or you don't need any of that. All you need to know is your nature as satya. And then your nature as mithya is going to remain satisfied more or less as it is, with whatsoever little or more money you have in your bank account, whatever you have as your mental, physical, psychological condition, your jiva is going to be satisfied because it is its configuration. Oh, I was made like that, and life has, this bumping road called life has made me learn something, but now I understood. I'm not the Jivatma, in the sense I'm not this body-mind complex, and I don't even care howsoever it is. Because now I understood that my nature is consciousness, and consciousness, I am free. And I no longer need to be racing in the rat race. Running to gain, efforting to keep, and then running to avoid things all the time, trying to control my field of experience. So just imagine how exhausting it is. So, and only knowledge can help. Knowledge of what? Of my fundamental true nature, identity. Because once you know that you have a treasure, a gold mine under your house, Just imagine those of us with financial problem, and then we discover that there is a gold mine under my house. I only need to do is to dig, remove the floor. It's right there in my living room. Put the furniture out and then dig a little bit, and then I am super millionaire, if not billionaire. So you think that you would go back to your office, work, a job that a lot of the times we don't really enjoy doing, once you know that you have all the rich within your very home. So likewise, the person who have access to these rich no longer is all excited running around the world trying to accomplish things, gain things, and reach money, power, position, prestige, improvement, mental improvement. All these obsessions with make some plastic surgeries to look younger again, and all of those things, they gradually fade, because now you have identified with your primary nature, consciousness. It is a shift of sense of identity. It's nothing beyond that. Okay, so are we all convinced that knowledge is the real deal? As we say in the United States, the real deal, man. We don't want fake money anymore. We want the real money. So we have 3 stages of understanding in regards to God. Jumping into the big picture, we looked last week into devotion. And then according to our stage of development, we will have different attitudes or ways of relating with God. So we have, to summarize, we have 3 stages in this relationship. Once the individual comes to understand that there is a higher power, because there is no such a thing as a universe without a creator, because matter cannot create matter. You need something that is really conscious to create matter/energy. So once we understand that there is a creator, and this creator is a small variation of the eternal consciousness, existence, which is pure sattva. Once you understand that there is a God, and then we go through these 3 stages of relationship with God, seeing God from different levels of understanding. The first stage, we see God as the creator of the world. In the second, we see God as the world, because to see God as the creator of the world is that level that says, okay, we are all sons and daughters of God. God has created the universe and has created us. We have to praise God so that God protects us. And somehow, for those religious people believing in life after that, we want to have a good piece of real estate in the sky, in heaven. So if we believe that God is the creator, we really want to appreciate God because he's the boss. The second one, we not only see God as the creator, but we see God as not apart from the creation, from its creation. God is the creation. And that is related to that attitude that comes with the Karma Yoga understanding, which you do not see God as separate from creation. You see God built into the creation. Therefore, we start seeing God in every name and form of the universe. And that brings what? Brings our perspective and our attitude of wonder and gratitude and appreciation. And God is no longer something that you think once a week or twice a week, but you're going to think about God all the time. Why? Because it's going to be staring before you all the time. You got that, Karen? Now you see God everywhere because you see God as the substrate of the creation, which is sattva, this intelligent field, order, huh? And with these beautiful, beautiful, numberless creatures and all the other configurations which are inert. So you see everything as God. You don't see God as those sculptures or those actions or those churches or those images of Krishna. Yeah? You see God, you see Krishna, you see Christ, you see everything in life because of this beauty, this manifestation. It's a reflection of God, a reflection of Brahman. So the second vision of God, understanding of God, relationship is much more subtle and sophisticated, which requires what? Requires much more wisdom. You remember the Vedic wisdom, the eyes, the wisdom, the wisdom, the eyes of wisdom. So it is often referred to as the third eye. But no, it is understanding, the eye of understanding that begins seeing God in everything. Of course, the materialistic scientific world does not get to that. They have a hard time to understand God, even the God as the very intelligent that is sustaining this cosmos. They have trouble to see God in everything. But that is the second level in this the stage of understanding and relationship with God. So now you are saved because you see the beauty of God everywhere. And the third one is the highest, is the understand. We see that God appears as the world in its many form, but it is not the world. Before you say God is building to the world and I see God, and the third level is this is just a manifestation out of Maya, and God is not really the name, colors, and forms of this world. It's not the mountains and the birds. God is the consciousness, the light that reveals this world, is the substratum of Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagata. So this is the ultimate understanding in our relationship with God. So now, if before you were seeing God in every name, color, and form, now you see God as the light that shines, reflects in your intellect to reveal the God manifest as the world. Two beautiful levels of understanding, but it begins with understanding that there is God, understand that there is a creator, and beginning to include God in our lives. So those are the three levels. The highest understand is the one we see that God appears as the world in its many form, but it's not the world. It did not become the world. It's the real substratum of this world. It's the very light that is shining in my own intellect all the time, revealing the world. By the way, God reveals the world. God, I'm talking about Ishvara, to reveals the world by shining sattva in the human intellect so that the world can be known and experienced. So this is all the three levels of Ishvara, God. Nivikalpa Ishvara and Savikalpa Ishvara in its denser aspect and Sattva aspect. It appears as the totality of the manifestation, which includes all the laws, intelligent set of laws, structure that somehow not only projects it, but sustains it and destroys it in due time. And then Paramarthananda says that we need to understand these definitions of God in different levels gradually and systematically until we can see, we can have this full vision. Vedanta is often presented as a vision. Until our vision can incorporate these three levels of God. The one who creates as if time, creation is the beginning of the time here, and then it somehow appears as the world, and then it becomes clear simultaneously. I see it is the creator, it's one that is going to deliver the results of our effort. At the same time, I see it is the set of intelligent laws that structure and sustains the universe. And then I see the third or the first most essential, fundamental. I see God as the light of consciousness that reflects in my intellect and reveals this creator, creation. Creator, creation, and the light of consciousness that shine in my intellect reveals the creator and the creation. So this understanding develops gradually, and it requires our systematic contemplation until we have this vision, the vision of the world as a manifestation that begins with Brahman or Ishvara. The way in which I define God will determine my bhakti, of course. My devotion will depend on what? The way I understand bhakti, I understand God. If my understanding is very gross, I'm gonna relate to God to ask for gross things. Oh yes, give me prosperity, give me this and give me that, protection. In the first level, my devotion will be to a personified God. Of course, I have to get a bargain with one of these sales representative, as I said the other day, so that I can get some benefit. And then I want things, my personal deity. In the second level of understanding, I worship the Lord in everything. So that's what we call Ishvara, the real only Lord of this universe. And then I will understand that there is God, and God is more than my personal deity. Lord will be appearing in everything, including in nature. Most important, in nature, we'll see the beauty of nature, the harmony of nature, and then we see, wow, this is God. But then we have to see God like Krishna did to Arjuna when Arjuna wants, show me your full face. And then he shows the good and the bad and the horrible. And Krishna says, oh no, please, I want you to show me all your good face, your good manifestation, sattva, benevolence, love, compassion, and so on. In the final stage of understanding, I see God as the formless substratum of the universe, both manifest as Ishvara and Jagata, and unmanifest as the substratum, often referred as Brahman. The final stage does not negate the previous two visions. The final stage, oh, now that I know my relationship with God is only Brahman, is consciousness, its existence. And what happened with the Ishvara and your deities and no, all of that disappeared. No, these are three different, it's two orders of reality. We have two orders of reality. One is absolutely real, the others are apparently real. Within the apparent, we can have several subdivisions or sub-orders of reality. We often say that within Mithya, we have three sub-orders of reality, which is Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. So what happened now with my gods in those two sub-orders of reality belong to Mithya, which is all apparently real? What happened to them? They don't go anywhere. because my jiva, although I have an understanding and a vision of Ishvara as the substratum, Satchitananda, I still live in a body and I still interact with Mithya, the Mithya field of interaction. And in there, I have a lot of respect for the creator and for its manifestation as the universe with its laws, and I'm going to obey the laws. I will never cross the red light, because I may get a fine. So all those visions of God in its inferior, let's say, inferior apparent nature, they remain. They are not contradictory. Why? Because they belong to different orders of reality. And we see Mithya, there are orders and sub-orders of reality. When I appreciate, the find does not negate the previous two visions. It simply completes the full picture. That's what a full knowledge, complete self-knowledge. It integrates all these different levels, the full picture, the full vision. When we appreciate Ishvara as both the formless principle and the form, or let's say, Sattvaguna, the knowledge, intelligence, love, let's say, and then the manifestation, inert beings and sentient beings. When we understand Ishvara in both levels, the formless Brahman, the formless Sattvaguna Ishvara, and the formed universe, we can happily worship the Lord as a personified deity, as well as the totality of nature, as well as the light of consciousness, the light of the illuminator that not only shines in Maya to produce the universe, but shines in my own intellect to produce knowledge. And this knowledge has to grow to the point that I can understand the true nature of this magic show. That seems to be the purpose of life. Just as quantum physics does not displace Newtonian physics, both understandings of Ishvara do not cancel one another. They do not object one another. They are not in contradiction, right? So the next topic here is qualifications for liberation. So we can jump it because we know that we are all fully, highly qualified. Or if we want, we can go a little bit about that for the benefit of maybe some other people who may come in contact with these videos that have almost zero exposure in the spiritual world. So what do you think? Shall we jump it? No? Silvia said that we should not jump. Okay, so any contribution, question? Breakfast time? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my good friends. We meet again soon. Good morning, good breakfast, and arrivederci.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, Elizabeth, Karen. Good to see you back, Karen.
Thank you.